What up, y'all? The Knight of Green here for two things. The first thing that I have here is my JPOG or Jurassic Park Operation Genesis Challenge Mode rule sets. So this is for those who want to play Jurassic World Evolution in a way that is very similar to the predecessor game, JPOG. So there are three rule sets that I've created, and here's the first rule set, which I like to call the absolute definite rule set of the challenge. So, when it comes to these definite rules, there are 10. The 10 rules are: 1. You must play on easy difficulty with random dig sites. This is the best approximation of Operation Genesis mode. You can use any island. Rule number 2. Only create and use dinosaurs that appeared in JPOG. I will provide a list here of the dinosaurs in the description, and there is no exceptions to this rule. A follow-up rule to 2, so 2A, you have to sell fossils of non-associated dinosaurs of JPOG, and you can only extract their DNA if the game won't let you sell them. But if you decide to play on Nublar North, you must immediately sell the stygis. And do not pretend they're Homalocephalae, so you have to sell them. Rule number 3. Outside of the 2A subsection rule, you are not allowed to sell any dinosaurs at all. The dinosaurs must live and die on your island. Rule number 4. No genetic modifications are allowed, period. You must use the default genome for the dinosaurs. Rule number 5. You may only have one research team. You cannot get or use any additional research teams. Rule number 6. When it comes to creating attractions in your park, you can only use the viewing gallery, viewing platform, and safari truck tour. You cannot use gyrospheres at all. Rule number 7. Hotels, fast food, gift shop, fossil zone, emergency shelters are the only anonymity buildings that you can create for your park. Rule number 8. You must have an innovation center present in your park before you reach the 5th star. Rule number 9. Due to the fact that there really isn't any cleaner stations in JWE, you can of course use power stations and any associated electrical pieces that come with it. Rule number 10. Paleobotany research and the associated feeders are allowed due to the fact that JWE now has paleo options, which kind of act like an analogy to the paleo feeder options in JPOG. So those are the rule sets for the absolute definite rules. Now we're going to get into the little crazier side of it with rule set number 2. So this is what I like to call, you can do it if you want rule set. So rule number 1, enclosures have to be boxy and not have any curves at all. You must build straight line fences. Rule number 2, paths must also not curve and be in straight lines. Rule number 3, viewing galleries must be placed on the fences. Rule number 4, the viewing platform must not be placed on fences. Rule number 5, you can only have one Spinosaurus per enclosure. Rule number 6, the Hammond Creation Labs can only be outfitted with Hammond capacity increase upgrades. Rule number 7, only electrified versions of the fences are allowed. Rule number 8, safari truck paths have to either go around the outside of a dinosaur enclosure or can only be on the inside of just one. There is no cross-cage shenanigans. Rule number 9, the only path that you can use is the wide fancy paths. Rule number 10, no rocks allowed, but the decorative trees are fine. So, now we are on to rule set number 3, which I'm going to call the "Are you joking with this?" rule set. It requires a soundboard if you want to try to complete it. Rule number 1, whenever you open up the DNA extraction or research tab, you must play the following sound clip.
I thought you might like some input here.
Rule number 2. Whenever a dig team returns, you must play the following sound clip.
Message from Dr. Grant.
3. Whenever a dinosaur dies, you must play the following sound clip.
Message from Dr. Sattler.
Number 4. When a dinosaur is released, you must play its associated introduction audio from JPOG. Rule number 5. When a dinosaur is sick, play the following sound clip.
Urgent message from Dr. Sattler.
Rule number 6. When you get an increase in star rating by a half, play the following sound clip.
Urgent message from John Hammond.
Rule number 7. Whenever you open up the map screen, play the following sound clip.
Can you look after this while I get a soda?
Rule number 8. Whenever a dinosaur escapes and is killing people, play the following sound clip. Rule number 9. When an Albertosaurus so much as exists in your park, put this following sound on a loop and play it for as long as it is alive. Rule number 10. Create multiple sound loops if you decide to have more than one Albertosaurus in your park. So try doing this challenge with a friend and see who can get 5 stars the fastest, but even if they, by they I mean your friends, get a better time than you, make sure they are following all the same rules that you're playing by so you can disqualify them if they're cheating. Secondly, here are my updated thoughts on the JWE versus JPOG battle. So looking back on my first comparison video, linked below in the description, largely most of the differences between these two games have stayed the same except for a handful of things. For example, JWE added the feature to cancel incubations. They gave us paleobotany and diverse feeder types. They added more dinosaurs, including more JPOG dinosaurs to the roster. It has revealed to us more islands to build on. It has blessed us with more terrain tools. It has showered us with scenery pieces. It resurrected the car safari tour. And the best part of all, we now have the sandbox adjustment settings to allow for either free-roaming dinosaur parks or the automated types of parks. And of course, we have challenge mode, which is actually the most replayable mode of them all. While initially I held JPOG in higher regard, I would say I would rather play JWE now in its current state than compared to an unmodded JPOG. However, modded JPOG is a completely different story. But overall, I would say that I would enjoy JPOG with only minor file tweaks to allow for all the dig sites to be unlocked, unlimited buildings, unlimited dinosaurs, and unlimited people. And JWE, as it stands now, I would say they are roughly equal in terms of how much I enjoy them. But, that's the positive. But now on to the more daunting aspects. So, in my previous video, one of the first jabs I took at JWE was the fact that the only real mode that you can play was the story mode, if you can really call it that, and how it basically boiled down to just completing contracts for factions in order to get unlocks, while dealing with your employees getting upset at you and sabotaging your entire parks. In hindsight, as an experienced player, I now have a better understanding on how to avoid getting sabotaged, so this aspect isn't really an issue. But even with all the updates, the main mode of the game is a grind and a slogfest. And I do not see a lot of reason to really go back to it once you get all the unlocks. But I mean, with all the new content added and stuff, there are more story-driven missions. I mean, if you can really call them story-driven missions, but they too devolve into completing missions and park building. But I mean, there's a little bit more to do now than just the maid mode, but really they suffer the same problem that after you've completed them and gotten the unlocks, you really don't have much of a reason to go back to them. But the only real replayability that this game offers is trophy hunting, and even though I got the platinum for the game, it's a gruesome and ridiculous challenge. It's just But yeah, no, outside of trophy hunting, you can also go for building your very special parks or wildlife reserve and sandbox, and of course, my favorite, doing challenge mode. While all of these things can provide a lot to do once you've completed all the trophies, built all the parks and sanctuaries you've wanted to build, and you've completed all the challenge mode difficulties, then there's not really much left to do. I mean, I guess you can make cinematic movies or scenes using the camera mode, and if you're into that, go for it. So, in a way, Jurassic World Evolution, especially for me at this current state, is just me waiting for the next content drop, then it's me completing it, and then I test out any new dinosaurs or features, the stats of said dinosaurs, and their potential and how it affects challenge mode. However, I guess maybe my vision of the game can still be jaded, as I can't get mods since I'm on the PS4, not the PC version. I don't know. Maybe I'm still being a little too harsh to it, but what do you guys think? Make sure to leave a comment, subscribe, and turn on notifications. But anyway, see y'all.